Now that you're here, Will, I can start talking about Physical 100.
What's Physical 100?
yeah, you watching Physical 100?
We haven't quite finished it yet, but we watched like 7 episodes in like 2 or 3 days or something.
Yeah,
which is
casual.
That's not like it's not crazy, but they are like an hour and 10 minutes each ish.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
If I bring this up, is this safe? Is this terms of service? A bunch of like topless men.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine.
Is this fine?
Probably. Yeah,
It's-
probably.
Yeah,
Right,
that's not anti-TOS. That's just eye candy.
I love this show. This show is so good.
It's great, isn't it? I would recommend this too. If you're a fan of Squid Game and I guess attractive Korean people, attractive fit Korean people, you'd probably enjoy this.
Yeah.
I feel like you're targeting me right now.
I'm targeting everyone. You probably like this.
You'd love this show, Steve.
Yeah, you would.
The premise is just 100 people from all different athletic backgrounds all compete to find out who has the quote unquote like best body.
The perfect body is
the perfect body.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all you need to know. I think that alone, I think, is interesting enough. My only complaint is I feel like they have people that are like, here's a bobsled guy, here's a person that's like a sprinter, and then most of the challenges are strength based. I'm kind of like,
yeah, but like they have to after a certain point, right? Like there's only so far they can get on. Well, you have to be agile for this one. And it's like, well, yeah.
So wait,
go for it, Steve.
You're advocating for this show, which is about objectifying men for their bodies. On
There are women as well.
International
No,
Women's Day.
It's not objectifying anyone. It's just they're all super wholesome and they get together, and then every time one of them like does a challenge, and they're like, "Oh, fuck, good."
Yeah, I've heard
job.
that they're
It's so
actually
friendly.
like, really supportive.
It's so
Like,
chill, yeah. And it's funny because they'll do things where it's like they're clearly setting it up for people to like betray each other in a way, but they're all so nice that they're just like, well, it is what can't do this anymore. I had to turn my back on this guy, but it is what it is. And he's like, yeah, I totally understand where this guy's coming from. The other guy was the better choice. That's fine. And it's like,
there's one of the challenges where it's 1-on-1 and they have to just like wrestle and get hold of a ball after like 3 minutes. And this one, he's like one of the best like South Korean wrestlers or something against this other guy who's just shredded. He's just maxed out, and the wrestler just completely destroys him for like 3. He's like suplexing. He's like doing Zangief shit on him for like 3 minutes, and then it finishes. He clearly just like walks over, gets the ball, and wins. And then the guy that's just been like pounded for 3 minutes is just like, yeah, cool, good, yeah, handshake, hug.
I'm just glad I got to challenge this guy. It's like it's all about that. Yeah.
I was saying to Laura, I really want like an American or an English version of this, purely because there are clearly people in this show that are like South Korean celebrities that I just don't know
there's the baseball
about.
Guy. Yeah.
It's just like if you did like
I see what you mean. Yeah.
If you did a local version of this, it would be interesting to see who they would have, more celebrities you would recognize getting their shit pushed in.
I was going to say James Corden, but I was like, maybe not.
Peak physical strength, James Corden.
Who's there's the one guy, he's like, what, is he like bobsled or like skeleton luge or something? And every time he comes on the screen, they cut to a talking head of one of the other contestants, and they're like, he's a beast. He's this man he's unhuman. Like,
I think I know you're talking about. His name is Agent H.
No, it's a different guy. But that guy's the same. Yeah. Every time it cuts to him.
Let me have a look at the cast, because I did during my 4 years of uni. I was full into Korean TV and movies and stuff.
It's more like Korean athleticism, like bodybuilders, athletes.
There's all kinds of people. There's one. There's a couple of just like they just do fitness YouTube stuff. That's it.
So immediately I know Chu Sung-hoon.
Yeah.
But he was in is it mixed martial arts or just judo? It was one of the two.
Yes. Yeah.
He's huge.
Yeah,
he's a really soft guy.
But yeah, like Will was saying, a lot of them are just really, really kind, just really nice people.
Yeah.
Someone will lose, and they'll interview them, and they'll be like, "That was fucking brilliant."
Yeah.
But yeah, highly recommend this.
Highly recommend it.
Having so much fun. Is it finished? Do you know?
Yeah, it's the final came out like a week ago, a couple weeks ago.
Oh man, we need to finish it. Need to know what goes on.
It's good. It's fun. The only problem I think is like I don't think they do a good enough job where they all do the same challenge like sequentially, and then it's like by the 5th time they've done the same challenge, they kind of run out of things to say about it. So they're like cut to talking heads, and they're like, "Yes, we also found hauling this really heavy weight up a hill. We also found that quite difficult." Yeah, that was. It's like
the pacing is not great.
So for the 99 losers, do they like give them like each individual burials, or do they just
so that's
all in a mass grave?
So that's the best bit. So when they all first walk in, they've all got like busts made of their torsos, basically made out of like clay or something, and it's modelled exactly to them. So when they all first walk in, they all find their own bust, and the bodybuilders that stare at themselves, every day for weeks are like, this one's mine. I can see the shoulders, this one's mine. And then when they lose, they get given a hammer and they have to smash their own bust to pieces. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. Because some of them will be like, they'll walk up to their bust and they'll be like, "You have failed me," and then like smash it to pieces.
Yeah.
It's so good. I just want more of this. I want to finish this, and I want this again, but with like just other people. It's so good. I love it. It's so funny.
You want like the American version, the UK version, the French version, the German version?
No, because I've watched like I don't know. Maybe it's a culture thing, but like I've watched like Ultimate Beast Man or whatever, after this, and it's like it's all there's too much like pomp and circumstance, and everybody's like ego and stuff gets in the way, and it's like all the whole way through the show I'm just like, these people are all so nice. Like they are the fittest people I've ever seen. Some of them are so ludicrously jacked it looks like they've been like inflated onto the screen.
That's half the fun of
they're all so lovely.
The first episode is like an hour and a bit of just absolutely ripped men and women walking into a room, and I'm just watching it in awe. I'm like, these people are insane.
Sometimes, and like, you walk in and it's like a guy with thighs bigger than some of the other contestants, like whole bodies. And they're all just like, wow, look at that guy's legs. I love it so much.
Highly recommend. I had to bring this up because you mentioned it on one of your streams. And I was like, I've seen that like pushed to Netflix. We should check it out, and just been addicted ever since. Every spare minute we get, we're just watching more of this. God, 100%. So much fun.
Definitely. Physical 100, if you haven't watched it already, it's on Netflix. It's great.
Yeah, unfortunately though, Physical 100 is not a video game, so we can't continue talking about it. So I'm going to take the bust I have of that show that I have right here. I'm going to smash it with a big hammer, and I'm going to go straight into the intro. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Game FourCast, our weekly gaming podcast where we get together and chat about everything we've been playing and all the latest news. My name is Josh, aka BottlerWorks, and I'm here with Olive Meister Will.
Hello.
And Quikwix Steve.
Hello, my name is Steve, and I decree that we shall have St. Patrick's Month, as drinking should not be for just one day.
And Sammeh. He's actually dead. Is this the first?
Out.
Is this the first week we've had where he's just bogged off because we've been talking about something that he doesn't like?
Yeah, I was going to say if I was on Physical 100, they would instead of like a bust on my chest, it would just be like one of those squishmallows. Like,
just be a full-size body pillow.
Yeah. All right. Oh, you're back.
I don't know what happened.
I said we did the intro and you were quiet.
That's fine. We'll go straight into what we've been playing. We'll start with Will this week. He hasn't gone first in ages. So what have you been checking out, Will?
This week I played a whole bunch of things. But excuse me, the main thing I want to talk about is a game called Wo Long.
Hell yeah!
Is it a hell
Fallen
yeah?
Dynasty.
Is it a hell yeah?
This game's interesting. It's the people. It's Team Ninja, right? And it's the people who made Neo, and you can tell because it's basically Neo again.
It's the same game.
It's almost the same game. This is a Romance of the Three Kingdoms Souls-like, where Neo was I don't know what Neo was. Journey to the West, I think.
Neo was just...
Is that what it's called?
All I remember Neo was it's just demons. That's all I remember about Neo.
Well, that's basically what this is. It's like you fight Lu Bu, but also Lu Bu is a demon sometimes. You know, it's... And you hang out with
Lu Bu was
Cao.
always a demon.
Cao Cao? I can't remember how you pronounce his name. And it's kind of where Neo was like Japanese Dark Souls. This is more like Chinese Sekiro, if that makes sense.
Elaborate.
Well, it borrows where like Neo borrows a lot from Dark Souls of like there's basically everything in Dark Souls you could lift 1-to-1 into Neo, where it's like bonfires, respawning enemies, backstabbing, the kind of exploration and like unlocking shortcuts and things of but it's level based instead of one big open world. And this is Wolong is the same, but for Sekiro instead. So it's like you're much more mobile. There's a lot of like hopping up buildings and running across rooftops like Sekiro style.
Okay.
You don't ever get a grappling hook, which is a big miss.
Any parrying?
Yes. And so instead of there was kind of like light parrying stuff in Neo, but in this it's a full blown like what was it called? Was it poise in Sekiro, where you're trying to break the enemy's poise so you can do a death blow? Right?
I think it was every time you parried a move in Sekiro, it would fill up a bar, and then when that bar burst, you'd do like a big move and do like a big chunk of damage. That's what I remember.
Well, you would take one of their lives, wouldn't you?
Yes,
that was the point, and they had X amount of lives. And you could, the more damage you did to a boss, the slower their poise would come back. So it wasn't like you were fighting to reduce their HP to 0. It's like you were fighting to get their HP low enough that you could parry a bunch of moves successfully and then deliver the final shank.
Sekiro had health bars on bosses and stuff, but they always felt kind of redundant because that's not
they were
what
like
you were
secondary
trying
to breaking their. I think it's not poise. That's really going to bug me. It is
something. Yeah.
About it. People know what I'm talking about though, and this is where I feel like I want to get onto this later, but I feel like these games complicate a lot of. It's like they take things from Souls and then they go, well, we want to be that but harder, and in doing so they complicate everything and kind of muddy the like experience a lot, I feel like. But so this has a similar system where you have like a poise bar which has plus and minus basically. So every time you do something defensive, it goes down. So like dodging or deflecting, it goes down. And every time you do something offensive, like attack, it goes up. And what you're trying to do is like get in enough attacks and proper deflections. Because when you like use some to initiate a deflect, but then if you nail the deflect, you like get it back. It's like so it rewards you for timing. You know where like Sekiro, you could just mash the deflect button really fast, and you could sort of cheese your way through a lot of fights like that. This is like, no, you can spam, but you're losing poise every time you do it. And
the bar's
it's only
if you
successfully block something. And what you're trying to do is like build up your bar to the max, and then you kind of cash it in on a move which breaks your opponent's poise bar. And they have their own where they're also building up and cashing in theirs to do big moves to try and break your poise. And it's like it's good, but it's good in theory, but in practicality, it's just kind of like you know how to beat a Dark Souls boss, right? And I'm kind of not thinking about all that stuff in the moment. It's just like I'm gonna dodge or I'm gonna parry, and then I'm gonna hit them. And sometimes it'll be like, oh, you broke their bar, cool, and then you do a little damagey move. But it's I don't think it's as intuitive as Sekiro's, should we say?
I kind of feel the same with Sekiro as well, where I think a lot of the time I was less looking at the bar I was filling by parrying and more just focusing on parrying as much as possible until suddenly I could just do the big.
Yes,
big
pretty much. And so you'd be like, you'd know when you're like getting into the flow of it and like, oh, I'm about to beat this guy because I'm getting all the moves down and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and that kind of overcomplicating things for the sake of it is like, I feel like it's a theme through a lot of these games where they have systems on systems and so many ways to level up and customize your character that I think it's sort of I get sort of bored of it almost.
This whole game is just so confusing to me. Just it's like, it sounds really mean because it's obviously these games take so many thousands of developers to make, and there's so much love and work that goes into making a game. But I don't know why this game specifically exists. It's there's like been no marketing.
That is weird. Yeah,
it's just here, and it's all right.
It's kind of like, if you really like Neo, there's no reason you won't like this. It's basically Neo again. With everything, all like warts and all sort of thing. So yeah, I guess that's what I think. It still turns me off in the same way that Neo did, where it's like you get so much gear like Diablo style, and all of it is like plus 2% spirit defense when you deflect, and I'm like, this is this isn't fun. None of this is fun. And every single one of those bits of gear has like 9 of those modifiers on it. So whenever you get and you're getting it all the time, so it's like every now and then I would look in the boots menu and it would be like 90 pairs of boots, and all of them are giving me plus or minus 2% in some fucking arcane stat, and I'm just like, I just don't.
The same thing that had that was Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin.
Well, that's these guys again.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And it's one of those things where you get so many pieces of item. You get so many different items with so many different stats. Yeah. And you end up getting hundreds of them across all different sections, and there's an optimize button, and you press it, and he wears the best stuff, and it's like, what is the point of any of this?
Exactly.
Yeah. See, this doesn't have even that, so luckily there's a if you play it through Game Pass, which is where I'm playing it through, there's a gear set you get just for downloading the game. You have to go claim it, and it was like, here's a cool set of armor, and I was like, great, not going to touch the armor stuff anymore. Great, I don't have to deal with that. What else? The story is Romance of the Three Kingdoms again, except some people turn into demons sometimes.
Is it any more exciting the 100th time?
No, not even slightly.
No.
I guess people are really into this story because it's told in every Dynasty Warriors and every like one of these that comes out.
Is there any? There must be people that hear that it's this story again, and they just go, yes,
I get to fight Naboo again. Yes. I can't wait.
Just what I wanted.
But what?
Can't wait for Cal P to crush me.
Exactly. Yeah, Cal P. Cao, what's Guan Yu? He's in this. And it's kind of annoying because every level is the same setup where it'll introduce you from a character from one faction, and they'll be like, we have to go and fight this guy, and you're like, cool, sure. And then you go through the level. It's very standard like Dark Souls affair of like, hey, if you ever see a bit of loot just out in the open, you best believe there's a guy stood around the corner waiting to jump on you. It's every time.
Is it level based like Neo?
Yes, it is level based.
Okay.
Yeah. And everything has like a recommended level, and you get a reward for finishing the level and stuff. And then you progress through the level, you get to the boss. It literally is. And then you meet anotother character from Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and he turns into a big demon, then you fight him. It's got some of the most, and it's like when it clicks, like I keep mentioning Naboo because that's like the last guy I fought, and that was a really good fight. He has like a horse phase where he's sprinting around the arena on his horse, shooting arrows at you, and you can like deflect them and stuff. And then you're building up your poise to knock him off his horse, and then you have to fight him hand to hand, and that's a whole different. And it's like when it clicks, I'm like, this is almost, if you squint, this is like fighting a Sekiro boss, and I'm properly getting into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it's like they can't help themselves. Every other boss has to be some ridiculous monstrosity that just either doesn't fit on the screen or is so. There was one boss where it was like one of those Bloodborne bosses that's covered in like ropes, and you just can't. And I was like, I cannot see what he's doing at any moment. Like I'm just getting hit, and I'm fucking.
Just not.
He's
fun.
just flailing. Yeah, it's just it doesn't work. This combat doesn't work for fights like that, and it's really frustrating.
I just feel like if you're gonna do this sort of story with all these well-known characters, lean into it ridiculously hard. Otherwise, just make Neo 3, because Neo 3 would have sold way better than this.
Neo 3 would have done, but I imagine, because it's people like Neo. I like this to a certain degree. It keeps crashing, which is a whole other thing. So I can't actually.
I was going to ask why, if you knew why it was mostly negative.
Because it runs just about on my PC. I was dropping to. This was like I had it on like low settings, but it doesn't look bad, and it was dropping as low as like 50, but only in certain spots. And I feel like they do some like trickery to when you're in a boss fight. They're like, right, just all the effects, all that gump, we're turning all that off so you can have a cool 60 FPS when you're fighting this boss. So that was all fine. But yeah, it just keeps crashing and hard locking, and it's not good crashes where it just closes. Like my whole PC will lock up for like 5 or 6 seconds, and I'm like, I don't want to risk my PC to try and finish.
Those are the kind of crashes where you feel like, if this happens again, my computer is going to blue screen and the hard drive's going to fail.
I'm waiting for the blue screen. And every time it happens, I'm just like, oh, is this it? So
because you have,
I don't know.
You have certain crashes in games where you're like, oh, that's really annoying, and then certain crashes where you go, oh, fuck, like my PC just screamed.
Yeah. And it's done it, and it was doing it. I got to a boss the other day, and it kept crashing mid boss fight, and I was like, I'm not going to do it, because I know I'll get him down to like 5%, and then it will crash, and then I will uninstall this game forever. So I might wait for a patch just to see if it gets better.
Are you sure that's not just like a boss mechanic that you haven't understood yet?
I wasn't deflecting his crash to desktop properly. Yeah.
I just this game is just so odd to me. For the longest time, I thought this game was a different game, and when I
same.
So what am I thinking of? It's like,
well, I feel like there's Wild Hearts, and then there was Wo Long, and they have a very similar vibe, right? I feel like, and then there was another one which
it's like something Black Mist.
Yes, I know what you mean, but I can't remember the name of it. It was shown off at like an Xbox showcase like a couple months ago.
Hang on, Black Mist.
But I don't remember
game.
Oh, and there's also there's a Sun Wukong game coming out.
Is that the game I'm thinking of?
I think that might be it.
Black Myth.
Black Myth.
Wukong Black Myth. Or Black Myth Wukong. We got there. I thought this for the longest time was that. And then when I found out that it wasn't, I kind of thought I was silly and went on Discord and said, like, I thought that was this. And then I think like 2 other people just came out and were like, wait, what? Is that not that?
Yeah.
Because I thought that was that as well. It's so bizarre. It's so weird. Because this game's just come out. It had a trailer, I think, for Jeff Keighley's Dorito Award show.
I guess it feels like they're kind of banking on Neo success, just to be like, if you really, really liked Neo, because a lot of people there's a lot of this game if you want it. All those like plus 2% and things. They're gonna be someone's jam when they get plus 2 boot finding skill on a pair of gloves. Some people are going to be really into that. So I guess they're just hoping like, hey, if you like Neo, hey, we made another one of those.
I think Neo is popular. I think it's a good game. I don't think it's popular enough for that to spread to another game of random name that is similar. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I'm always down for these games, but even I didn't know this was coming out until like 3 days before it did, which was kind of a nice surprise. But
it's like Sekiro. That's a different game and a bit weird, but I love Dark Souls, and there are a lot of people that would do that. Whereas I don't think there'd be enough people to go, Wo Long, that's weird, but I love Neo. There's probably like 7 people.
Well, because it's like they're afraid to advertise that this is maybe it's us. Maybe we didn't just know,
Well, I was going to say, but this game did also come out on Game Pass. That might have been for a reason.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just like, oh god, we think this is going to sell 13 copies. Jesus, get Microsoft on the phone and get a deal sorted by 3 p.m.
This is at least a lot of game. Yeah, they'll go for it.
I said to you as well. I think no one is going to remember this. It sounds so mean to say, but I do think this is true. No one's going to remember this game after like 2-3 weeks it coming out.
Yeah, no, it is very forgettable, especially because it's just. I just stop telling Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I don't know. It's not interesting. I don't care about Cao anymore.
Or at least mix it up somewhat. Like this it feels like this is just Dynasty Warriors, but with a Dark Souls coat of paint. Like go crazy with it.
Yeah.
Let's have anime cat girl version of.
That exists, right?
That is Dynasty Warriors.
Code Rain or whatever, right? That's your anime cat girl Dark Souls. Is that what it's called? Code Rain? Code something?
Scarlet?
You talking about Code Vein, the vampire one?
That's the anime one though, right?
Yeah. The vampire anime Dark Souls like.
I never played that one. That was I did. I like Dark Souls. And I'm
surprising
like, don't like it that much.
Well, I like Dark Souls. That was back when the era where you could slap Dark Souls like on anything, and I would give it a shot. You know?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Dark Souls 1 era was strong, man.
It was mad. All right. Well,
I think that's everything. Oh, every level you are assisted by some character, and I fucking hate when Souls games do this because it's like having a summon with you all the time. And so a bunch of enemies will just randomly decide to like switch aggro, you know, so you never quite know, is this attack meant for me? Sometimes you get hit by the backswing of an attack that's not even targeted at you, and I'm just like, why? Just so you can hang out with another character who just has like 4 lines that he just repeats over the whole level. He's like, wow, watch out, demons. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, wow, who knew?
If any of this lukewarm reception to this game sounds appealing, it's on Game Pass.
There's a good game in there somewhere. There is a good game in there somewhere.
Someone
when
will
it
love
clicks,
this.
And if you love lots of stats, you might really like Wolong.
And in that case, if you really like this, you'll really like Stranger of Paradise, which you should definitely play because that game is amazing.
Probably.
All right, let's move on. Steve, what have you been playing?
Oh, God. I have been playing nothing new, but there have been several games that have had updates, which I've been playing over the last couple of years. What, sorry?
I said, okie dokie, let's go.
Okay, well, first of all, I played today a little bit of Rainbow Six Siege, which got its Year 8 patch today.
Gee, getting old.
The game is still trucking on.
Yeah, so some of the big things for this patch was they added a new operator called Brava, who she has a Twitch drone, but her drone
a Twitch account.
Sorry, a Twitch account. She has a Twitch bot.
Yeah, and her drone, instead of like it can destroy electronics, but what the gimmick with it is it can take over enemy electronics. So your cap can trap? No, that's my cap can trap.
That's cool. Still Siege though, but that's cool.
It's still Siege. They've like overhauled like the some of the UI and stuff. They've some of the big things is they're calling it Mousetrap, which is some anti-console mouse and keyboard penalties. So if you are using a mouse and keyboard on console, your game will lag, your inputs will lag, and the more you do it, the laggier it gets.
What?
That's weird.
Yeah, until you start playing games with controller, and then it will slowly revert back. But yeah, it's to stop console players using mouse and keyboard.
What a weird, wacky way to implement that. They just not just ban them or something. You just want to fuck with them.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure why. I think it's because like it's for people with disabilities, like they can't sometimes use a controller. But yeah, it's such a big problem. They consider it at least cheating. I know other shooters do kind of as well, but for Siege it really is considered cheating. So this is their way of dealing with that without like purposefully banning people, I guess.
Let's get it sorted right here, right now. What's everyone here's stance on it? Is it cheating?
It's cheating.
Yeah, okay,
100%.
Yeah. It's cheating. Yeah.
Yeah, you get the flexibility of a mouse and keyboard with the benefit of aim assist. Like it's cheating.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, the aim assist as well.
But do you? I don't know how those two would interact, because surely the console would know that you're on mouse and keyboard, right?
I don't know. That's always what I've heard.
Most of them use a intermediary device where you plug your mouse and keyboard into like a hub, and then it will pretend to be a controller.
I'm not knowledgeable on that to say, but yeah, that sounds a little bit scummy at the very least.
Yeah, because I think this kicked off when I was reading up on like people cheating in Call of Duty, and they were like, that's a big thing where a bunch of streamers do it, and it's like it's not against tier, it's like frowned upon, right?
Yeah,
but it's not explicitly cheating, so they get away with it.
Yeah,
it's such a massive advantage. It can't not be cheating. Yeah. I've played enough console first-person shooters to know that it's not. I'm not trying to like start an argument. It's not like not fun. It's just PC is.
Oh, I've played shooters with like a controller on PC if I want to chill out, right? But it's not. If you are playing something competitive and you're using it to get a competitive advantage, it's definitely like mouse and keyboard is the way to go.
An example, right? Yeah, it is night and day in Hunt between using mouse and keyboard and using a controller.
Yeah, and there are some games where they like gear it towards controller. Like Halo is an infamous one where all of the pros play on controller for Halo because of the aim assist and bullet magnetism is so strong in that game. You're shooting yourself in the foot. With if you're taking mouse and keyboard on Halo.
I've seen stuff with Infinite where I think it was Infinite. Maybe it was one of the other ones where you could just with a sniper rifle you could shoot like a whole foot above someone's head, and it's just like headshot, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? It's mad.
But yeah, like some other things for Siege that they're adding some like. They're still working on the toxicity problem, but now they're adding a abusive voice chat thing where, like, if you are abusive in voice chat, you get reported a lot. You can be muted for up to 30 games. They've also something really interesting is they're doing like something called tactical reload, where reloading has been reworked. So interrupting the animation will leave the player without a magazine. Closed bolt weapons will still have a single round, but you don't get your ammo. If you've got to be more tactical when you reload because you're out. You basically take the ammo out of your gun while doing that. So
I love this new push to be like loads of games are doing it. Like Modern Warfare 2 does it, where it's like you can get to any point of the reload and interrupt it, and then when you go whatever you're doing, go back to reload. He'll be like,
the
bullets are in. I just need to pocket or something. Yeah. I love that stuff.
I don't mind that stuff as long as it's still fun, right? I'm all for like realism. And as soon as it's like, that's
the annoying part about like some other shooters where you'll get 90% through the reload, and it's like, the new bullets are in. You just gotta like, why is he pulling it out? Why is he starting again?
I have physically put the new magazine into the assault rifle, and the reload hasn't finished.
But someone interrupted me, so I'll swap out for a new one. Don't want to mess it up.
They should do like if you get halfway through the reload and there's no magazine in, and then you go out to like a knife or whatever, and then go back. You just can't shoot anymore. It's like you threw your magazine like on the floor, like back there. Like your gun is gone.
But that's basically it for Siege. They also released like the roadmap for the year, and it's like there's some good stuff, but they're revamping in the final patch of the year shield operators, which I'm like so excited for.
What are they doing to them? Do you know? Yeah.
They did say, I didn't watch the live stream and I can't remember exactly, but they did say, but yeah, I think they're making them a bit more useful while not being overpowered or something. Like, I think it's something like you won't be able to have your gun out and your shield out at the same time or something, because it's they said that shooting with the RNG, while having
that always bugged me.
So they are doing stuff for that. But yeah, that was Siege. Like it's not groundbreaking stuff, but it's like it's like kind of nice to get back into Siege because I didn't play it really for all of last year.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, does it feel like I feel like they were winding down development for this game like 4 years ago when they were saying like, hey, we're not going to do multiple operators a season. We're not going to do a new map every season. Does it still feel like?
I got the impression that they kind of said they were going to do that, and then introduced they started doing more regular battle passes. And that probably made a shitload of money, right? And then just carry on, Jesus.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying that's what they were like. They were like, Jesus, we can't stop now. We can't ramp down. This battle pass is making insane money.
Yeah, they keep another thing that they've done for they're redoing the new player onboarding. They've given every operator new tags, and they're new tutorial quests where if you play 2 tags with the breacher. With the 2 operators with the breacher tag, you gain a breacher operator and stuff. And they are revamping quick play, and they are revamping a lot of things. It feels like they are trying to push to keep this game going a really lot. And as I said,
Nice.
One of the big problems with Siege was the toxicity, and they really are trying to put their best foot forward with that.
Yeah, I think it's not a stretch to say that Siege is probably up there with one of the most toxic player bases, right?
Yeah, Siege and League, I think, are known.
I think Overwatch as well. Valorant.
Overwatch, they're all kind of shitty.
Yeah.
I think any competitive team game in a ranked mode, when you start climbing an MMR, gets horrific.
Yeah.
Anything else you played, Steve?
I was going to say, the only other game that I put a lot of time into is Dead by Daylight, which got its update as well.
Oh, yeah.
Which I know that you have some opinions on as well, but they added They didn't do too much this time. They reworked one or two of the maps, I can't remember, and they reworked a map.
There's 3 maps one's been reworked, and 3 of them have been remade with new assets. Temple of something is the most
names.
Yeah,
I don't know any of the names for them, but yeah, they've added the new killer, who is the engineer, who is sexy mummy.
It's horrible. I hate her. So boring. She's so boring.
I think she's boring. She's not interesting, but I think she's very good. I think she's good. She can defend. She has a lot of information she can gather from her ability. Today I was playing, and you can have 4 drones that basically scan areas, and when they get down to 4 generators, I basically knew if they were touching a generator.
I think my problem with her as a killer, so yeah, she chucks up 4 drones, and they tell you where people are, and they expose survivors if they stay in the radius for too long, which basically means they die in 1 hit instead of 2. My issue with her is outside of the intel stuff that you get from using her ability, she's just another W and mouse 1 killer.
Yes,
which is boring.
Definitely is that. She definitely could have done more, but I'm for what she is, which is fan art bait. She is. I like playing. I like some of the simpler heroes where it's I can just rely on her ability to help me win rather than my skills.
I think the main problem with her is just that she just doesn't feel just up to par compared to other killers, like aesthetically and design wise. And there's so many rumors about this killer. Do you know anything about what I'm talking about?
No, what are you talking about?
So this is all pure speculation, right? There's nothing is confirmed at all, but people have kind of run away with this. Behavior, which is the company that make DVD, have strongly implied for a very, very long time that they wanted to make a Predator killer.
Okay. Yes. Why does she have the Predator wrist blade? What's that about?
Everything she does, down to her weapon on her wrist, down to her perks, what her abilities do, is all perfectly suited for a Predator-based killer.
Damn.
And people, again, nothing is confirmed, but people have just run away with the fact that this is some kind of Predator deal that fell through last minute. Not last minute, but they had to do something.
Yeah, they had all the bits there, but
yeah, because some of her add-ons and her abilities is when she's in her own drone, she becomes undetectable, which is it's the DBD version of kind of invisible, and she has all this tracking going on, and you know, she's called the Skull Merchant, and all her drones made out of skulls. Which is, if you know Predator, like he collects trophies of skulls.
That's his thing, yeah.
Predator is also very sexy.
It's very, very sexy, and it's also like Predator is. It's also kind of somewhat back again, like that Prey movie. I think did really well. Not the fact that Predator is like, you know, just a massive IP, and this game is all about getting massive horror IPs. I believe it.
Oh my god! And the two survivors are like the brother and sister in Prey.
Yep.
Oh my god! It all makes. I see why. I bet all this is not true, but I see why people.
Yeah. And then what did we get? We don't get that. You get a lady in a mask.
It's a very pretty mask. It's stoned.
It's fucking bejazzled mask. Sick. So scary.
She looks really stupid.
Yeah.
The way she doesn't chase people, she just struts about, and it's like the speed doesn't link up with how fast she's traveling, so she kind of like moonwalks.
I've seen it as well. I've played. Really there are certain killers that are human sized, which is fine based on their like pose or whatever they're doing. But I've played a bit of Survivor against this killer, and when you see her chasing someone, it just looks ridiculous. I'm like, oh, there's two survivors over there. Wait, no, that's the killer and someone else. and then this like, I think she's like Brazilian or something. This petite Brazilian woman picks up a massive man after stabbing him, lugs him on her shoulder, and takes him to a hook. It's crazy.
Yeah, I remember when this was teased, and I think I messaged you, Josh, and I said, "Oh my god, Dead by Daylight's getting a Terminator. Like that's how they're gonna get me." Because it was all like tech themed, and it's called the Tools of Torment, and I was like, they're gonna come up with like a killer robot, and it's gonna be 100% my jam, and I'm gonna fall in love with this game.
Yeah,
you know she's gonna take off that half mask, and it's just gonna be Arnold Schwarzenegger. Actually,
that'd be sick. Surprise!
It was meant to be Predator.
The ultimate twist: she takes the mask off, and it's Arnie pretending to be the Predator. Yeah, he's the villain of his own story under the mask.
Circle, yeah.
There's a weird joke here, so it's falling apart a bit, I think. But there's something there. Yeah, it's the whole thing is just weird, and it's like I think I've played. So like I said, I played a bit of her. I haven't got her survivors, but the survivors are just skins anyway. She's the killer's what you come for with these new releases.
Yeah,
and it's like she's not even horrible. She's just kind of boring, compounded by the fact that everyone expected more, which makes it worse because everyone's going mad.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, she's an engineer. The possibilities are endless, and they kind of did go a boring route with her.
Yeah.
It's a good route, but it's boring.
Yeah, I remember watching you play her this morning, and it was kind of like, she throws these, like, floating drones. I'm like, and what? And they're like, and it finds people. I'm like, and then what? And it's like, no, that's it.
There is the one thing that comes from her gameplay, which I think is pretty cool that I like, is if someone disarms one of the drones, they get like a thing attached to their arm that they can only remove after a certain amount of time. And when that's on their arm, as the killer, you can press your special ability button and you pull up a physical like radar, and you can see on the radar where they are. And that's pretty cool, because that feels like you're actually sort of stalking and hunting someone.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, because there are other killers that do that better with, in-game, HUD and stuff and auras, which makes her kind of shit. But just the fact that you physically pull up something and you see it like beeping and like they're over this way, that's kind of cool, even if it's like not very strong. People are not happy with this chapter, which is kind of sad because people also weren't happy with the last chapter, which was the night. So,
but I'm still enjoying Dead by Daylight. Like they've done some balance changes as well. Like the big thing was Eruption. That trait has been nerfed, which I think that was the one trait that for killers people were saying was a problem.
Yeah.
For survivors, I think any trait that stops me killing them is a problem. But they had the
one where they like dodge out the way.
No, that's still
dead hard.
Yeah,
that's still the same.
It's so bullshit.
I kind of like that perk as a killer.
Of course you do. Wait, as a killer? What?
As a killer, yeah. I like I like chasing someone and then watching them use it in front of me. I'm like, you son of a bitch, you stupid, and then you kill them. Makes me feel smart. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm still also playing tons of this. This is the first. The game has tomes, which are like challenges that come out every 2 weeks. This is the first time I'm on track to completely finish one, which is. I don't feel. I said this with the last Battle Pass. This is different to Battle Pass, but I said when I was talking about the Battle Pass, I never felt pushed to do those things in DBD. I was just enjoying playing it, and I'm still like that with this, which it is good. I'm still enjoying just playing DBD.
Yeah, that's the nice thing is it's just a nice game to turn on and be like, I feel like I want to play some solo game right now and go and murder some people.
Yeah. Sick. That's cool, Steve. I'm glad you brought that up because I also wanted to talk about that. So it's good to do that. All right, well, I assume that's your stuff done.
Yes, that's all I've done.
And then I'm not sure if you have. Do you have anything, Sam? I can't.
Yeah.
You do have something. Okay.
Yeah, I had to think about it.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't have because I've been playing Blood Bowl 3.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
No, so
they fixed everything.
The coin is flipped. No, they ain't fixed shit. What they have done, to give them credit, mostly negative reviews.
Yeah. Everything we looked at today has been mostly negative. The Wolong, Dead by Daylight expansion, and this all mostly negative.
They fucked up by everyone that bought it got all the content that came out at the start or something.
Yeah.
Or like the deluxe edition. You know, every game has a deluxe edition. Whoever bought the normal game also got the deluxe edition, but they didn't buy it.
Yeah.
That's pretty
so
funny.
There was this weird bit where it's like, you know, people have paid 20 quid extra and they've not got anything for it. So they came out and was like, look, yeah, we're giving everyone that bought the game everything so far, and then we will reward the people that bought the deluxe edition in like future battle passes and stuff. Like, we'll sort you out. We fucked up. Sorry, kind of deal.
That's kind of cool.
They also sorted out. They had this thing where like you could buy armor to like customize your dudes, because this Blood Bowl game has a lot more customization. And you can customize people whenever you want. It's not like you make the character, you customize it. Okay, now you've made it. Now it looks like that forever. Like, you can customize it. You can't customize it mid-game, but in between games, you can be like, right, this guy's got shoulder pads, and now he's topless. Like, you know, do what you want, right?
I kind of like the idea of just mid-match dragging a dude off just to change his outfit quick and then getting back on the pitch.
But originally they had, whenever you bought a bit of armor or something, you only had one copy of that. So if you put it on a guy that you like, that's it. You used your copy. And they've gone back on that and said that all the normal stuff you can put on anyone as many times as you want, as long as you own it. But the legendary stuff, the like really sick looking stuff, is one per team kind of deal.
Okay.
So they had a lot of bad reception at the start, from me included.
I think when you spoke about it last time, I think, was it like early access or something, or had it just come out?
It just come out.
And then there were like, I don't think there were any reviews yet, but the way you were talking about it, I was like, this review section is going to be destroyed in like a day.
Yeah.
And then
definitely.
Lo and behold, I went back like 2 days later because I remembered, and I was like, oh yeah, the big red.
Well, it's still like
negative.
You still can't reconnect to a game if you get disconnected, right? I believe there is now viewing other people's games, I think.
Yeah.
But like the other weird thing was like they put it on their roadmap, and then a lot of people were like, why are key features on the roadmap?
Yeah.
But they were like, it's not like, oh, you're going to get it in 2 months. It's, we're showing you on the roadmap all the stuff that's coming, so we've just put this stuff here as well. We are working on it as soon as possible. So
yeah, they've got to be careful, because if a game comes out and it is obviously really, really bad, and people start demanding mass refunds, Steam will just open the floodgates and be like, yeah, just this game's clearly busted. Everyone get a refund.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I've actually been playing it, and I've had no issues. The AI is even worse than Blood Bowl 2, which is amazing. I didn't think it could get worse. But you don't play that game to play against AI.
Yeah, it's against people.
But most of it's there. I don't think I've come across any game-breaking bugs myself.
Yeah.
I've played like 5 games now. I still get just as mad as playing Blood Bowl 2 because dice are bullshit. I had one game where I had to roll a 3+, and I had 4 attempts, and I failed all 4, and so we drew. And I was just there like,
what, on a D6?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What the, that's I'm not going to ask what the odds of that, but that's very unlikely.
Sam knows. He's done the math.
Shit. And then I had another guy which is like, if you try to dodge away from this guy, he tries to diving tackle you and take you out. So I just shoved that on their dodgy players. It's like, great, you need to roll a 5+ if you want to get away from me on a D6. And then this guy like dodges the wrong way, so he has to do that roll twice, and he succeeds both times. And I'm like, what's the point here? Like, why do I make tactical decisions? Opponent just rolls 6.
All I know about Blood Bowl, because I've never actually played it, is it's all about dice rolls, and your dice rolls always go bad, and your opponent's dice rolls always go well. And then
the skill in Blood Bowl comes down to how much can you mitigate bad dice through good positioning. Targeting key players. Just try to roll as few dice as possible, or you can go and roll a ton of dice if you're in a really good position and just be greedy. So this game is incredibly luck based, infuriatingly so. But it's like there's so much skill that can offset that luck at the same time that like I'm still in on Blood Bowl. I'm still in.
It's when we used to because me and Sam used to be in a league for this, and it was like the good players would all naturally rise to the top over the course of like a season, right? When it's like because it's all luck, but it is like Sam said, it's like hedging your bets,
it's
like
luck,
trying to put the numbers
mitigation.
in your favor. Yeah, so it's like some people would always be in the top 5, right? Top 5 players that always you'd be like, oh, that guy's here again. But sometimes there'd be a guy who's really good, and the game would just be like, you are gonna just get fucked this season, and he would be like dead last because he just cannot catch a break. And it's like that's the blessing and the curse, right? Of those kind of games is like it's fun when you're bad at the game, but you just happen to luck out and go really far, but the opposite is also true. You feel like you make all the right decisions and you just
there is a place for those games though. Like if you think of like Hearthstone, I remember when that first came out, people were like, every single championship there are different people up there because it was like even though there are good players, like RNG kind of wins.
Well, it depends. It's like again, it's like luck mitigation, right? It's the reason. You know, you have poker champions that are multi-millionaires and things like that. Even though the game is ultimately drawing random cards and stuff.
Yeah, but what I get what Steve was saying is like there was no guy that was like, I've just won 4 tournaments in a row. Like I think for the longest time there was no guy that won 2 tournaments in a row.
And I think there are places in gaming for those types of games where RNG, where you can have like some better players and some worse players, and everyone stands a chance, you know?
Yeah. It's the opposite to that is when you look at like fighting games and fighting game tournaments, and you will see the same names in the top 8 for decades. Literal decades. Games will come and go, and they'll move on to the next ones, and it'll be the same names in top 8. Crazy.
But yeah, Blood Bowl 3, it's definitely playable. Would I buy it? Like, I mean, I have. Would I recommend it? I'd probably still just wait. Like, there are some things. Again, for me, this is a game that I intend to play in a league format. So the idea of if someone disconnects, they can't reconnect is really bad.
It's just, unfortunately, it's just disqualification, right?
Yeah, for that round. And that's... No one wants that, right? Because there's any manner of things can happen. Like, your internet just blips, or your PC restarts, stuff like that. So I don't see us playing the main league on this for a bit. Because there's just certain stuff that needs to be there. But for just casual play, I'm playing on the ladder, I'm having a blast. I've made 2 people forfeit and concede against me already.
I'm glad to hear that it's not exactly like money down the toilet. You have somewhat gotten some enjoyment out of it.
Oh, yeah. And I know I will get my money out of it, because again, I'm in a league with some buds. So I always knew I was going to get my money.
But there's a scenario where even though you play in a league with buds, you're like, oh, this is still fucking horrible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it could have gone bad.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad we got an update on that. I'm glad to hear that it's going better.
The only other thing to update people on is Octopath Traveller 2.
Oh, yeah, how's it going?
I've come across my first little gripe with the game.
Oh, no.
Of my 4 characters that I've been using from the start.
Yeah.
I finished their stories.
Yeah.
Fantastic stories. Now I need to finish the other 4 people.
Yeah.
But they're all like level 7.
Is that high or low? I can't remember.
Well, my other guy's like level 60.
Right, okay.
There's not an easy way to level up in this game. And the more people I try to level up at once, the less powerful my team is to nuke powerful enemies.
Can you not have the level 7 person be on the back bench of 3 level 60s and just steamroll their story?
So I'm going to attempt that.
Yeah.
But there have been moments where during the story that person needs to do a solo section.
Oh shit! Yeah, I remember stuff like that. Yeah.
And if that throws me into that situation, I can't have a level 7 guy in a level 15 quest line, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not a bad thing. I'm so far ahead because of, I guess, the way I've played, but I feel like there should be a way for me to at least a little bit easier catch up my guys to my other guys. Because now I've just got to do a ton of grinding.
Which is never
and
fun.
It's a JRPG, I get that, but I'm not grinding right now to get max level. I'm grinding right now so that I can progress the story, and that's never good.
Yeah. From what I remember, at least in the first one, I don't think there's any kind of fast grinding mechanic.
Yeah, they've got their Metal Slime equivalents from Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
Special monsters, but you have no control. You can wear equipment and have skills to try and encounter more rare enemies, but all you can do is equip them and hope for the best. There is no surefire way.
Yeah.
So it's it's not a bad thing, right? But it would be nice if I'm fighting in a level 60 zone, and my level 7 guy, I think I got him to level 20, but I was killing mobs for 10, 15 minutes, and it's this is still slow.
Oh, you say it's not a bad thing, but I think if I encountered that, I'd be like, oh, I don't know about this. This is horrible. That's such a massive turn-off.
But that is because you've chosen to do it as for the first 4. You could have done it where you kind of leveled them equally. That's what I generally do in games.
Yeah, but that's crap though. That's like saying Sam's played the game wrong when he's just played the game.
The other way to say it, Steve, is although we've played the game differently, although I've got 4 higher level guys than you, we're gonna get to the same level at the same time.
Is there is it showing oh, there's a potential story at the end? Because I was going to say if not, you
got
could
4 characters, which I've not even done any story on.
Yeah.
So I've only done half the characters.
I was going to say because if not, you could probably start a new save, a second save, and get those 4 characters up. But I'm not sure if there's an overarching story at the end.
Isn't he in the same problem but reverse at that point? Yeah.
Yeah, I would still have to level those 4 characters up, except I wouldn't have high level mobs to grind on.
It's a weird situation, yeah.
Yeah, that is weird. It's weird they didn't plan for that. It makes me think I know Sam's a smart guy, but is there some tutorial prompt that you just skipped over where it's
please don't do this.
If you ever go back, if you ever need to grind a guy, something like that.
People in your back party will never be 10 levels lower than your lowest main party guy or something.
Yeah.
I've always thought it's a tiny tangent, but it's always games. A key part of making games is playtesting and making sure that it all plays properly and everything works well. And surely a massive RPG that's 80 to 100 hours must just get play tested a lot less than simpler games, right? Due to the fact that it just takes a lot longer to finish a playthrough.
Yeah.
And again, it's a JRPG. You're meant to spend a lot of time but having to grind to progress story is a lot worse of a feeling to having to grind to fight a super boss or a optional boss. Something that I'm actively want to do, I don't have to do.
I got to the very end of Bravely Default 2, and to get to the final boss, literally, I think it was like one tiny dungeon with the final boss of the game. It wanted, I can't remember what the requirements were, but it was a shitload of grinding, and I actively made the decision and said, I'm not doing this. And I watched it all on YouTube and saved about 20 hours of grinding that I just was not prepared to do.
In Bravely Default 1.
Yeah.
But again, wasn't that the one?
Wasn't that the one where you had to like play the game like 4 times or something?
That's Bravely Default 1, and they assured that there was nothing like that in the second one. Instead, they just backloaded all the horrific grinding and hid it until it was too late.
Oh, okay. Got you on a technicality. Right?
Yeah, I think it was like because Bravely Default was all about like class swapping, and every person can do every class, and it was like make sure you get every person to every class to a certain level, and it's like, no, not doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So again, it is a tiny grape, but it's like it is what it is. I think most people are gonna like you can't even swap the guy you choose at the start of the game until you finish his story.
Yeah.
And the recommended level for that is like in the 40s.
I think the first game did that. I think I was with the merchant girl for most of my time playing because she was the one I chose. You could not swap her out.
I mean, I was happy with my choice. It was still one of my favourite characters, but I do like them all.
Yeah.
But his playstyle is, I am the mage, and I fuck shit up. And I've been to prison.
Keep really like hanging on to that prison key point with that character.
It's a really good start to a story.
That's why Bethesda keeps doing it.
Yeah, you start every game in prison in Bethesda games, right? You got any final bits you want to check out? Okay, well, I'll push it along to my thing then, and because we're getting a bit pressed for time, I'll do mine somewhat fast. This week, I mentioned a few weeks ago how I was watching a documentary series on YouTube called Psychodyssey, which is about the development of Psychonauts 2, and I started getting quite far into that. I think I'm on like episode 15 out of 32, and it's now actively spoiling a lot of stuff from Psychonauts 2, which is, that's just the nature of watching a game getting made, right? And I thought, I really want to actually play this game. So I decided I'm going to play Psychonauts 2, but then I remembered that I do have Psychonauts 1 on Steam, and I haven't finished that despite starting it a long time ago. So my game is Psychonauts 1, and it's a prelude to next week as well, because my next week's game will be Psychonauts 2. But yeah, I finished this. This is a very old game. This is 2005. This came out, and it's a 3D platformer made by Double Fine. Double Fine, if anyone knows anyone about that company, normally they know Tim Schafer, who's the writer of games like Psychonauts and Monkey Island. And what was the Broken Age? Was the other
Broken Age?
Yeah, Brutal Legend. Just very witty writing, but also kind of hit and miss. I could see why a lot of people might not like it. Yeah.
I personally really like it. I really enjoy the story and the writing. But yeah, it's a 3D platformer about a kid called Raz with telekinesis, and you go to a summer camp where they are training up kids to become psychonauts, which are like the equivalent of like secret agents with telekinesis. And there's only a small handful of them. But they're kind of the humor and campiness of it is kind of somewhere between James Bond and Austin Powers. If you can imagine like a middle point between, James Bond and then the parody of James Bond. It's like they kind of take it seriously, but also it's like kind of jokey and this, that, and the other. But yeah, the idea of this game is you're training up your telekinesis powers because you want to join the Psychonauts, and a lot of that involves jumping in and out of people's brains and exploring their psyche and playing levels based around the problems they have. It's just a really fun time. It's very inventive with a lot of its levels, which I think it's really, really good. It's just like you go level to level thinking sort of what they're going to do next, because every level is vastly different. But yeah, it's very 2005, at least the first game. Like, combat's kind of jank, the platforming is kind of jank. But I think it's just good enough with today's standards to just about hold on. It's really close. It's really close to that early GameCube, PS2 jank, where it's like, oh no, it feels, oh no, I don't know if I can play this. But it's.
I think it's janky in like an endearing way. Maybe to me, maybe it's like if you came from a certain era of video games. Like, I see all the problems it has, and I completely agree. And some of those levels are so frustrating playing them now. But there's still like, I don't know. It's whenever the camera freaks out and you dive off a cliff, and you're just like, oh, it wasn't that a wacky time in games where we didn't know how to do that?
There'll be stuff in this where it's like I'm going down a linear rail, like just grinding, and there'll be like a gap in it, and I'll hit jump, and he'll jump, and he'll just completely miss the falling railing. And it's like, okay,
it's like in a modern game, they would just smooth all that over for you, right? Even if you weren't hitting quite the right direction. But in this one, it's like, no, I mean, what do you want? You pushed the wrong direction.
There's lots of little bits like that where it feels a bit weird, but I really enjoyed my time with this game. I will say, a lot of the best parts of this game are really backloaded. It's really odd.
Yeah.
How much, you've clearly played it, how much of this do you remember, Will?
I remember up until the mental asylum. That's sort of, and then I get a bit. I know the ending is there's the like Day of the Dead like style level,
there's a picture
right?
of that
and then
here.
you do the circus of meat or something at the end.
So
and I remember that a little bit, but.
So the first half of the game is you kind of going around this training camp, and you're talking to the characters, and it's all very funny, and the writing's all really good. But you're just sort of going around this camp, and you do like a tutorial mission inside, just like it's on a cube, which is kind of like, okay, it's kind of, I think it's here. It's just on a cube. And the few levels you do there are kind of not boring. But as I was playing them, I was in the back of my head, I was like, I heard this game was really inventive. Where's the really weird shit? And then like you said, about halfway through, you go to a mental asylum. It's like a broken down mental asylum, and it's a really tiny area, but it's where the entire like second half of the game takes place, because there's 4 different people there that all have their own problems that are basically within 30 seconds walk of each other. And each one of them, you go into their minds. And you have the like Day of the Dead one. There's a guy, he's a security guard, but he has like paranoia and conspiracies about milk and the milkman. That's really good. There's a guy who is, this is a picture of it here, of the level. It's a guy who is a descendant of Napoleon Bonaparte. From, if any of you know your history, and he keeps randomly breaking into that character in the real world. So you go into his brain, and he's playing a board game against Napoleon, and then you jump into the board game to move the pieces around to help him win against this Napoleon figure. And you can keep shrinking down. You can like go into the board game, but then you move the houses around, and you jump into the houses, and you come. Oh, it's really good. It's really clever. I really enjoyed that level. So all the best bits are all backloaded. But I really enjoyed my time with this. So I got this. I had this on Steam. I think it's really cheap. It's like $6.99. It is completely playable, at least on my rig. Excuse me. It is. It's completely fine. The only thing that stands out is all the FMVs are like 480p, which looks really jarring. Nothing you can do about that, I assume. But other than that, the game up reses really nicely to modern resolutions, and it just looks really crisp and nice. So I really enjoyed this, and I also, as soon as I finished this, I watched. There's an in between game between Psychonauts and Psychonauts 2 called The Rhombus of Ruin.
Yeah, the VR one, right?
It's VR, so it's like, as far as my scenario is, there's no way of playing this. So So I watched that on YouTube. It's like an hour long. And then it goes straight into Psychonauts 2. And I started Psychonauts 2, and I'm having an absolute blast with that. I'll talk more about that next week. But I think my takeaway, if I was talking to anyone now and they were saying they should play this, I think I would probably say just played Psychonauts 2. What do you?
I think it's easily obtainable enough that I think I would say give it a try.
Yeah.
I don't think because the barrier to entry is so low, it's so cheap, and it runs on anything.
Yeah.
And it's like you gotta go in, you gotta have the mindset of like, hey, it was a different time.
Yeah.
But I still think it holds up. I think it holds up enough that it's
my only issue is that it's, like I said, it's so backloaded with all the best bits.
But I think, but like if you get through the what is it, the brain training course?
Yeah.
The brain training, where he's like running you through like a war scenario. Like,
he's just like blowing up the children as they're going through his mind.
yeah, and he's yelling at you like a drill sergeant. I think if you could sit someone down in front of that and be like, hey, if you like this, like it's only up from here, sort of thing, you'll really enjoy this.
what I thought quite interesting as well is that obviously from the time period that it came from and what Double Fine had made up to that point, it's very adventure game-ish at the same time. Yeah. You have like an inventory of items that you can take out and just talk and show to people and be like, what do you think? How's this? And then there's certain puzzles that involve that, like taking something to something else. And it's like an adventure game where it's like use bar of soap on something, I don't know, as an example. Whereas what I've played of the second game, there's none of that. That's been completely left behind. So
it's much more straightforward.
Yes.
Well, I guess there's a bit of that in the open world, but not.
Yeah.
It's more like a traditional open world. It's not like you said, like an adventure game.
Yeah, I'm fully intending. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm fully intending to finish Psychonauts 2 for next week. Because I'm so in on this whole series right now. I absolutely love it. I love all the characters. I think they're all hilarious. The writing, I just think is really funny. It's not boring. It's very interesting. And at every level, I'm always thinking like, what are we doing next? What weird shit are we going to do next?
Yeah. Nothing ever like outstays its welcome, I feel like.
Yeah.
You're never in a level for so long that you're like, all right, yeah, I get it. I get the joke. Yeah. But it's like right as you're getting to that point, it just like hits you with a boss or a puzzle, and then you move on to the next thing. And
No, I completely missed this whole series for years and years, and now I'm finally getting in on it. I had I think I looked at my Steam. I purchased this like back in 2013 or something. And had I think 90 minutes playtime, and that was old me a long time ago. Clearly tried it and was like, no, fuck this, which is a shame because I'd be a lot more hyped for Psychonauts 2 when that came out. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. You never, just for like next week's sake, you never finished Psychonauts 2, did you? You fell off that.
I didn't. It didn't grab me for some reason. I really tried. I got sort of midway through, and there was some really good stuff in it, but I don't know. It didn't click with me.
Yeah, there's something for me. I'll mention this right now. There's something about going from a game from 2005. And then going straight to Psychonauts 2, where everyone looks 10 times better and animates. Like they look really smooth, and everything's like so perfect compared to the 2005 first game. It's something I really say about that. Just I really like. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Look, they don't have like 2 polygons on their face now. They look really cool. But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week. Okay, we'll go straight from that into some news. There's a few news stories this week, a couple of big ones, but it's been a quieter week generally for news. We'll start with the Destiny one because
I'm back, baby.
I wanted to give this one a decent amount of time. This is one I certainly did not want to race through. So this is the general story around this is that Destiny 2's Lightfall expansion has not had the best start. It's come out. I just for reference, I have not played this at all. This is just what I've read. You'll get a first-hand experience of what it's like in a second from Will, I'm sure. But people generally seem very upset with this expansion. Can you explain why, Will?
Okay, Destiny 2. It's been a long and rocky road, obviously, but the last expansion and the way their live service model is set up is big expansions, like tent-poling, smaller seasonal releases where you'll have a big 8-hour-long FPS campaign, and then to keep people interested over the course of the year, you'll have smaller seasonal updates which kind of drip feed you the story over a course of like several months, right? And since the last expansion, which is called Witch Queen, was really good,
people really like Witch Queen. That's what I'm reading. Yeah,
it was like you can't recommend Destiny now to people who haven't played Destiny. It's just impossible. But Witch Queen was like almost there, where I'm like, it sets up, even if you don't know the story, it sets up a fun villain, and it sets up fun characters, and then you go through a nice fun shooter campaign, right? In a fun location. There's lots of good cutscenes and fun combat to be had and stuff like that. And it's like, you can't tell people to play Destiny at this point, but it was like, oh, it was getting there.
It's close. It's really close.
So then fast forward to like whenever this got announced, and I think even people who the marketing for this expansion has been like overdrive, where like even people who don't give a shit about Destiny anymore were looking at some of these like trailers and being like, this is pretty good. And then combine that with everybody who's been playing Destiny for the last year going, Destiny's pretty good now. And I feel like it's sort of all combined. And couple that with, this was originally supposed to be the end of Destiny. This was supposed to be the final expansion for Destiny. And I think all of that sort of combined into everybody being really, really excited for Lightfall.
My equivalent of this was when I skipped World of Warcraft Legion, and I heard nothing from people. All I heard from people was that Legion was insane. World of Warcraft is back, baby. It's so fun. It's so good. You got to play the next expansion. And I did. It was Battle for Azeroth, and it fucking sucked. It didn't suck, but it was like. But I was like, thought this was insane.
Yeah. And the Bungie have like leaned into this. Like, obviously they have to because they're pushing them up. But like all the marketing has been, they've been quoted as saying like they want this to be their Infinity War. And at some point they announced that like there's so much story and there's so many things we have to do to wrap this story up. We've split the last expansion in two, so we're going to do this one, which is like our Infinity War, and then next year we will release our end game.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Which is what a strong message that I feel, that sets up a really nice two-parters kind of story. What this actually is when Infinity War came out and everybody went to see it, and then it leaves you on a cliffhanger, and which at some point is going to be answered in Marvel's Endgame, Avengers Endgame, and then in between those two, they released an Ant-Man movie, which nobody, I feel like it was like you go to see it thinking like, how's this going to tie into the big overarching story? And all it did, and it's like you're basically sat through an entire Ant-Man movie to watch the last after credits 5-second tease of what's coming next in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that's kind of what this feels like. It opens on the big bad is finally here and he's fighting you. It all it's like a big dramatic reveal. It cuts to black, and then you go and do this 8-hour campaign in a place you don't care about with characters you don't know, fighting over a MacGuffin, but they never even bother to explain what it is that you're doing. There's two buzzwords that they use constantly. They say, we need to get the veil and we need to stop the radial mast. And every cutscene is people throwing about those two MacGuffins, and not a single person, not even your character, goes, what is this? What am I doing
hang
here?
on a minute. What is what
even
is
is
this?
this?
You have to go to a Destiny 2 wiki or something and find out what the MacGuffin is.
And it's like I feel like it feels like this isn't the end game to this isn't the Infinity War to the end game. This feels like we didn't have the resources to actually put a proper expansion together. So this is a little side story because it's all we could scrape together in our resourced starved studio where it feels like we've been playing catch up with our own ideas and ambitions the entire life cycle of Destiny.
They don't have the budget to do the story proper as they dive into a pool from the Sony sale, which was how many billions?
3 point whatever billion. Yeah.
That's a lot of money to count, to be fair. It takes a long time to count all that money.
It's all the gold they've been offloading off the Sony trucks. That's taken them all this time. Yeah, I don't know. It's just really disappointing because at the same time as this expansion kicks off, the new season kicks off. And by all accounts, the season stuff is pretty okay. It's like not fantastic because it's obviously smaller in scope because it's not a big tentpole release, so they can't assign as much resources to it. But that stuff's like okay. And it's just this expansion is such a kind of slap in the face for how much, because it's more expensive than any Destiny release has been before as well. At the same
40,
time,
50 quid.
40 quid on Steam, for the base version, which is like that's full price game.
That's a game. That's a game, yeah.
And it comes with like less than any of these expansions have ever had. There's not even any. All the gear is normally these expansions launch, and you kind of expect like a fresh coat of paint. There's going to be new stuff to chase, and all of the gear that you're getting is all just recolored gear that you've seen before.
No, really?
Like, they didn't even make new items for this. Yeah.
Christ.
It's just sad. It's just sad.
These things go through so many people. Like, how does this happen? Like, it's a very successful franchise. It's worth billions because that's what Sony have purchased. Yeah, they purchased Bungie, but like, what are Bungie doing except for Destiny? Like, that's what Bungie are now. It's just insane to me that something like this can happen. I still love, I know you mentioned it, but it's the bit that always gets me is how the story has been leading up to this big bad, and he turns up and you leave.
Literally, that's what happens.
You just go somewhere else.
You go somewhere else to play to tell a completely contained story that doesn't really tie into the main plot in any way. But again, it's just like since the beginning, since Destiny 1, it feels like they've had all these grand ideas of what they want to do for this story, and they just don't, for whatever reason. Like, I assume it's not money at this point, but maybe it is. Maybe it's it feels like when Fortnite puts out a gun, right?
Yeah,
it's like they'll put out this like cartoony whatever little gun, and it's like it takes work, but it doesn't take. But it feels like when Destiny puts something out, they are like, we are going to, we're going to get original orchestras in to compose a theme so that when you find this gun in the world, it's going to play an orchestral that only that. And it's like they go so over the top in all of their, all of the things that they do put out that they just can't. They're writing checks that they just can't cash.
I think it's just, when the problem inherently is a lot of it is, it seems like a lot of the problems are story based, and people are upset with the way the story's gone in the campaign and how there's been a big lead up, and this is just, it hasn't panned out the way people were hoping. And a lot of these issues are clearly writing issues that would have happened a long time ago.
But I think it's a writing issue in the way that when a anime catches up to the manga, right? And then they have to go and tell a filler story, right? And it's like they're not going to get they don't have A+ writers who are on their filler arcs, right? So you kind of end up with these like little side stories that don't have any stakes or anything, but it's that kind of like they run out of road and they have to divert off into a little side road for a bit while the main story gets finished.
So do you think the answer
full Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Do you think the answer is not to improve this, but to literally just like don't have it and just wait for.
They should have just delayed.
They
should have just delayed. Yeah,
Well,
but it's a live service machine, and they can't stop
That's
it.
true.
You know?
Yeah, I think though it's been a common thing. It feels like in the last couple of years at least, it's been common that a lot of writing for games has taken poor turns or just hasn't been the best.
I think writing for games has never been very good.
There's been some sometimes.
I want to defend writing for games a moment because, like, obviously we don't need to go into the argument of like, oh, it's easy, blah blah blah, because we all know it's not. It's never as easy as it looks, right?
Yeah.
But when you're writing like a story layout and all this shit, a storyboard, and trying to convey it through the medium of video games, the story isn't just there; it's also how the game plays also tells the story, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's easy to be like, oh, the writing in this game is bad, but the story could still be fantastic. The game just played like shit and didn't play to the story's strengths. And I feel like that gets overlooked a lot.
True.
So I see the example of the story is bad a lot.
Do you have like an example? Just curious. I would kind of want to know what Sam's getting at here.
So I would have had one 2 weeks ago.
Maybe like World of Warcraft raids where it's like, oh, the story's there, but you have to play a raid, so a lot of people don't get the story. Potentially could be like that.
I've always thought an issue with story in games can be pacing, because you have to try to make a story work around a game which can take a very varied amount of time based on, like, you can.
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
I think you're right. Oh, go on, Steve.
I was gonna say one shining example of a beacon of hope for that is Final Fantasy XIV, which does the stories very well. Like, they know how to pace their stories.
Even
the latest expansions, at least.
The overarching stories
Yes.
are very good. I think the pacing of Final Fantasy XIV can be horrible. Where it's like...
I haven't played the new expansions, to be fair. I've heard they are very good.
There are certain parts in FF14's story where so much cool stuff is happening, and then so much not cool stuff will happen for a very long time. I'm like, can we go back to the cool bit? Because I was really into that.
Actually, I can see that. But I was just saying, like, Final Fantasy XIV does it where the story, like, their main story is like wrapped up within the expansion, like, and then within, from the leveling, and then Endgame starts a new story. Like, that's always been like good. Where a lot of MMOs and other games don't do that. They're just like, oh, we're constantly teasing. You constantly never quite finish whatever boss.
I feel like even those stories at their best are kind of like a middling TV show.
No, you're not. It depends on what you're playing.
I feel like I've never played a game and been like gripped like I have in like an early Game of Thrones season or something.
I'll disagree to that. I've played a bunch of games that I think are.
Yeah.
I've come to a idea to try and represent what I mean. Right.
Okay.
The Last of Us 1, fantastic, and I think half the reason why it did so well as a TV show was because the story was great, right?
Yeah.
I think The Last of Us 2 will be bad. Because the way the story was told in the video game was through more gameplay means than it was actual story beats.
Yeah, without spoiling anything, I know what you're getting at, yeah.
And I think it's still, like, I really wish I had a better example to come off the top of my head, but I feel like story and gameplay are very interwoven.
Yeah.
And one can carry the other. But I feel like very recently, video game writing is taking a massive hit when, in reality, gameplay has also been very lacking. But I feel like we're just so numb to that now that I feel like game writing is just a thing that we start shitting on instead.
Okay, yeah, I kind of see what you're getting at. Personally, I think writing doesn't... It's better now, but writing never used to sell video games, did it? It was all how it looked and how it played.
It was complimentary ages ago, yeah.
So no studio... When studios are running these big like now I agree we have a lot studios set aside a lot more budget for things like music, for instance, and writing. But it always used to be, they'd come up with a game and then they'd be like, "What's the story?" And it's like, "Oh, I don't fucking get a programmer on his lunch break to write us a narrative or something." You know what I mean? Like you'd write out some cutscenes or something. And I think you see that. I think when we look back, we remember the standout examples of really good storytelling. But on the whole,
always, yeah.
On the whole, most of it is not as good because they just didn't budget for it.
It depends as well, because there are a lot of genres that exist that heavily rely on stories that you don't really play, Will. Like, Sam and I are both coming from this at an angle of we really enjoy a lot of stories from games. I think they're really good. When we've both played a lot of stuff like visual novels and Phoenix Wright, and
that's true.
Whereas, not to put everyone in a box, but you're the Halo guy. You like shooters,
I think in the current generation, we're getting
You're doing me a bit of a disservice there, but yes,
from indie games than we are AAAs at the moment. There will be standouts like God of War. I think God of War is a great example of story and gameplay working well together.
Yeah.
But I feel like at the moment, we're relying on little indie games to give us that fix.
I mean, we'll revisit this.
I agree.
We can revisit this when Final Fantasy 16 comes out. We'll see if it's any good.
Yeah.
Actually, one thing I want to ask then is because you what's my books? What's my gaming books?
I can't. I'll get banned on Twitch.
Multiplayer games.
I don't want to go anywhere near Steve's box.
Yeah, but Steve's box is sticky and smells weird.
Wow, thanks.
All right, I'll push us along from Destiny. But yeah, mostly negative is the running theme of this podcast today.
Yeah, something.
I think that will go up once the initial outrage has gone, right? And people are back. People are back to just well, it is more Destiny. Whichever way you cut, the game is still fun. It's still Destiny. It's just, I think it's a combination of overhyping from the marketing for this, and the coming off of a really, really strong last expansion.
It's any expansion for anything. Any expansion that comes out, if it's not better than the first one, or if it's just bad, is always hated by its community.
And similarly, the reverse is true, where I think Witch Queen is good, but it's also overhyped because it came after an expansion that a lot of people regarded quite negatively.
Yeah, oh god, my expectations were so low. The fact that the game runs, good job.
Yeah, exactly.
Destiny is saved. Well, even if Destiny 2 is in the shitter, we have another sequel coming out which we can all get excited for. You've got Counter-Strike 2 potentially coming out very, very soon. It was early March. We've started getting, what is it, NVIDIA push it? Driver updates, this, that, and the other. A lot of stuff mentioning a supposed Counter-Strike 2, which, before anyone gets excited, if this does end up being anything, it's probably just the Source engine upgrade that people have been waiting for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
But just the idea of just the words Counter-Strike 2
it's dangerous.
It seems so bizarre to me. Just looking at it, it's what? Counter-Strike 2? Because it's been.
I don't believe it.
You straight up don't believe it.
I think it's Counter-Strike. I feel like anytime games do sequels, it's iffy. Has there ever been a sequel where people are like, yes?
Also, what this will be is it won't be
ever.
Yep.
Been a couple.
CS:GO.
Yeah. Well, no, people hated CS:GO when it came out.
They don't now.
They don't now, yeah, true.
Or CS:GO when it came out was a console game, right? It was like an Xbox 360 version of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, it was.
And people were like, "Oh, this is horrible." But this is more likely going to be an engine upgrade, so nicer models and textures. I don't think at this point you can probably touch how Counter-Strike plays, right, without pissing off literally every single Counter-Strike player.
I think you can.
You reckon they'll do it? You reckon they would poke around the code and change a bunch of variables?
I think it's either you do that or you don't touch it whatsoever.
It's really weird because I'm sort of with, but I agree with Sam. It's either this is they're going to change some like significant something about the game, or because if not, why bother? CS:GO is bigger than ever.
I think the idea is moving it to the Source 2 engine to allow a better platform to build off of in the future.
Yes, that's what I think. If they want to, it's like they're using this ancient engine
Very old,
game,
yeah,
and they're trying to do like live service stuff with it. And it's like, you go into work and it's like, got to make that new battle pass for Counter-Strike, and it's you boot up like a Windows 95 machine to get to your Hammer editor or whatever it is they use. I see them just everything. The back end is completely different, and not much actually changes from the front end. Maybe it looks nicer.
Well, the ultimate example of this is the fact that Counter-Strike and the Hammer engine is based off of like rooms, like rendering rooms. You're in a building, you go from one room to another. It switches off rendering for one, a few rooms over, and it's all room based. And these motherfuckers tried to make a battle royale on that engine. And if you go into what was it called, Danger Zone?
Yeah,
there's so many videos now because it's been out for ages, but like it's a miracle that Danger Zone even runs.
Yeah,
because the engine is just not, it's just not built for that at all.
So unfit for it. Yeah.
So, and that's what makes me think personally that this is gonna be an engine update that I can see getting hyped into like a new release, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?" Like Overwatch 2, with Blizzard being like, "Yeah, it's Overwatch again." Like, kind of temper expectations. It's just Overwatch again, but because they call it Overwatch 2, everyone jumps in there like, "What the fuck? It's just Overwatch again." It's like, yeah. Like, you all got excited for no reason.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, because I feel like it's them porting it to this new engine, but people are going to pick up and run this CS:GO 2 story to death, and now that's going to be popular. Like discourse about it is it's going to be a sequel.
Yeah, because it's the unfortunate part of it is that the engine is called Source 2, so it does make sense to call it Counter-Strike 2.
It goes hand in hand. Yeah.
But I could just see. You can almost see it now. People getting mad, going like, "What the fuck? Counter-Strike 2 is just the same as the old one, LMAO." It's like, yeah, I guess, we knew that. But yeah, so there's speculation of this being very soon, like as soon as end of this month.
What? They're just gonna? That would be very Valve, just to.
Well, people. Okay, so as more time is passing, we're finding out more, and it's looking like it's going to be like a beta branch that you just activate, and it's like, your Counter-Strike is now Counter-Strike 2.
You realize they're going to post full details the second we hit end stream.
Absolutely.
And end recording. They're gonna completely announce Counter-Strike 2, and we're going to be completely wrong.
The title of this podcast will reflect that and clickbait the fact that we already know it, even though we don't mention it at all in this podcast.
We're wrong about everything. Yeah.
It'll be this section of the podcast in a little video that's 10 minutes long, but the title will be like Counter-Strike 2 is this, as if we already know and we never mention it in what we're talking about. So if you've made it this far, you're welcome.
Sorry. Sorry you got baited.
Get baited though, I guess. Next thing, this is fucking weird. Blumhouse are making a Dead by Daylight movie. Like, what the fuck?
Hell yeah, it's going to be trash.
It's going to be trash. This is like a Dota 2 situation. We've come full circle. We've gone from films to game, and now we're going back to film again.
It's so weird. Because, okay, brainstorm time. What do you actually do in a Dead by Daylight movie? Because...
Do you get the shit out of it?
Do you get really campy with it and literally have like Michael Myers running around with Freddy Krueger running around with Ghostface? Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Because part of me also thinks that they're just going to try and do something ridiculously serious, where it's like the Trapper chasing people.
I want Pyramid Head and the Demogorgon from Stranger Things to kill a guy and then fist bump each other.
Yes.
Like and then look right into the camera. If it doesn't have that scene, I will be very disappointed.
I was going to say, how can you do, even if they say like very small chance to have the licensed killers. So even with their original killers, how do you do it? Like, oh, there's just a bunch of killers who go around and corner people into different maps where they're trapped into like arenas and like.
I'm going to introduce you to a movie called Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah,
which
I was thinking that
isn't far from that anyway. There's parts in that movie, spoilers for the movie, I guess, but there's parts of that movie where I think there's someone being chased by zombies while someone's being chased by some kind of water monster, whilst there's like a ghost lady.
Yeah.
Like, that's when I think of like what does a Dead by Daylight movie look like, that's what I think, that's what I go to first. Because it's the closest thing that already exists, right? Apparently this is happening though, which is really weird to me.
That's why the Skull Merchant is a real woman and not the Predator, so they can put her in the movie.
Oh shit!
They
yeah,
can get Angelina Jolie to play her.
It all makes sense.
We've data mined the Skull Merchant. We've removed the mask. It's just Angelina Jolie. And then we took off the Trapper's mask, and it's just Chris Pratt.
doing the Super Mario voice for no reason.
It's me, Trapper. Get erupted. GG. Someone's got to say GG in GG Easy.
I
in the Dead by Daylight movie.
Camp it up and are like, oh, the killer kills someone. Like, you tunneled them. How dare you?
I hope there's a bit where you're at the cinema watching this, and it's a really dark scene. It's basically pitch black, and then it does POV of the killer, and the killer gets flashlighted, and the whole cinema screen turns white and basically flashbangs the cinema as if like you are like, oh. Okay,
Survivor drops the pallet down on the killer and just like teabag.
Yeah.
Like in-game teabag.
I've changed my mind. I want this movie now.
I hope it's as dumb as Megan. I really do.
Megan wasn't dumb. Megan was art. What are you talking about?
It's true. It was art in the best way.
No one believes us, Steve. I feel like we go around saying that Megan was really good and everyone's like, no, shut up. It's terrible.
I don't believe
it. Best movie.
It was amazing. I loved Megan.
She should have been in Dead by Daylight.
All right, last little story. I don't know how much you want to go into this, but I thought I'd throw in at the end. You've got the Hunt Showdown roadmap. I couldn't find a single news story about the Hunt Showdown roadmap, so I've literally stolen Bluntcast's roadmap that he made.
Because they announced it
Bluntcast always to the rescue.
Possible.
So there was almost back-to-back, right? There was a video about patch 1.12.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, there might be a roadmap coming soon. And then they released it like half an hour later. Kind of weird.
They said, we're going to release a roadmap this week. There's going to be a roadmap video talking about what we're working on this year. Just so look for it later this week. And then half an hour later, they just premiered it on YouTube.
Certain people in those offices are not talking to each other when they should be.
Because before this, there was a whole news story from PC Gamer about how Hunt is moving to, they're upgrading the CryEngine, much like a CS:GO to Source 2 thing. They're updating the entire backend for Hunt to their new Crytek. And it's like you couldn't find, and none of the official channels for Hunt put this out. It just
exactly.
It was just somebody linked it. Yeah, so I saw a tweet that was like somebody just linked to this news story and said, yo, and everyone was like, oh, cool.
But it's like I edit these podcasts and put them on YouTube. Your job, Will, is YouTube. You make videos and upload them. It's like for the video of the roadmap to be live that quick. For someone comes out and says, oh, there might be a roadmap coming maybe this week or next week. Like that video is on YouTube, scheduled and ready.
Yeah, the admin alone of putting the title together and like getting that person in a room. Why did they just hit like the go button or something?
It's so bizarre. But anyway, so yeah, the video of the roadmap was interesting. I don't think I could have finished it without Bluntcast's stream.
It was long.
It was two dudes talking to each other. But here is the concise information. I think upon reflecting upon this and thinking about it, I'm happy with it personally. I'm just disappointed about the time frames.
Yes, I was going to say the exact same thing. Is the content's good, just some of it I wish was prioritized a bit
so far away. It's like some of the stuff that I really want is 2024, which is I could be dead by then.
I'm in the weird I'm in the weird situation where everything they've said is very cool, and I'm excited for it. And I'm also at the same time disappointed that all of the stuff that I was excited for has been not pushed back or given less of a focus. But like, last year, if you'd said when's a new hunt map coming out, I would have said like, oh, early next year, sometime middle of next year. And it's like, nope, we've got to wait a whole extra year for new map, custom lobbies.
When was the SAL?
All over a year ago now.
Really?
Year and a half ago.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Year and a half. Oh, Christ. Yeah, I honestly thought a new map was this year. I don't know when this year.
Imminent. Is what it felt like.
It's for me, a new boss has felt imminent for ages.
Yeah.
And a new map has always felt whatever time that boss is plus 4 months or 4 months or something. And then so what they've kind of really announced is that they're now doing seasonal stuff. So every 3 months, which is kind of common, I think, for most live service games. You do every 3 months, chunky update of something. But yeah, what you got coming soon, you got more quests, tutorial, a bunch of solo changes, and more skins and stuff. Solo changes, I'm really not sure why that's happening, but cool.
Yeah, I don't like it. No, we don't have to get into it, but yeah. Nope. It's a grumble for me.
Yeah, I think giving solos advantages against teams of 3 is kind of weird, but anyway. Yeah, that was all the hunt stuff. Custom games eventually in some weird firing range.
No, we are also custom games. They said next year sometime.
So proper custom games.
Proper custom games, yeah.
Next year.
Next year.
Yeah, it's like I said, all the content is cool. It's just really far away, unfortunately.
Yeah. All the stuff I really care about is really far away. I'm happy. Everybody else is really happy with all the stuff they've said. Like, I know roaming bosses has been a thing people have been asking for forever. And I'm glad those people are getting what they want. I was so jazzed for some kind of mention of custom lobbies, and it's like, it's good, it's still on the cards, but next year's so far away. Although we are in March now, so
I just feel like that should be one of the things prioritized, right? Because it creates communities and content around this game, which is what it needs, right? It's what any game wants.
If you ask me,
yeah.
Every kind of game like this should have some kind of custom game functionality. It's like it's very odd. It doesn't. I understand why it's a very unique game, right? But I just feel like that it's custom games in this are so good for the game, so healthy. I don't know.
No, I agree. It brings people together. It lets you do weird stuff. And by proxy, like I said, creates communities. It creates content. It creates videos and jazz and positive spin.
Yeah. That's how that game will grow, is via the community, which community is going to grow via custom games.
Yeah. I'm still kind of... I know they would never announce it as a future plan, but I'm still somewhat surprised that the game hasn't gone free to play yet. I always kind of thought that would happen at some point.
I think they would like to at some point, but I think they're scared of the sort of what goes with going free to play, which is like risk of cheaters and
I didn't think about that.
The reputation of being a free to play game and not being able to monetize their game well enough without those sales.
It's almost like when it's not a free to play game, and it's not getting massive amounts of people and skins and crazy stuff. They can almost have this slow release of content because they don't have to keep up. They're not compared to Fortnite and Apex.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hunt is just its own little weird thing to the side that costs 30 quid, but you buy it for 15 quid or whatever.
You buy it on sale because it's always on sale.
It's always on sale.
Yeah.
That's the last little thing I just wanted to bring up very quickly. A lot of people that watch this podcast and stuff as well are obviously all Hunt players and stuff, so I thought it at least deserved a little mention at the end. That's all the news we have for the week that we can fit in. There are a few other tiny ones, but they were just in case extra ones, and they were kind of duds. So we'll skip those ones. But have you got any upcoming stuff, Steve?
We do, but I think Will had a tiny story he wanted to talk about.
No, it's okay. I was gonna get the go-ahead from Josh in our podcast chat. Call of Duty's just announced Shredder is coming to Warzone. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder is coming to Warzone. Hell yeah!
So you can play as Shredder in Warzone, and then we just need the King Kong event to come back so I can shred his balls in an Apache helicopter and get massive XP points or whatever.
Hey man, if that's what you're into,
that's exactly what I'm into. That is, funnily enough, specifically, that is exactly what I'm into.
I had dreams like of that.
I wish you said that earlier. We could have led with that story. That's easiest thumbnail bait I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Well, we've got time in, Steve. What have you got, Steve, if you've got stuff?
Okay, so for today, I said about this last week, but it is also today as well. Paranormasight, The 7 Mysteries of Honjo released, which I've been seeing it's been getting some good press. So,
this was the one I have to find.
Was the Josh game.
It's literally the Josh game. It's like, let me find the thing you posted. Hang on. I just want to find the tweet that you posted.
Yeah, there was a tweet by Square Enix saying, like, if you like these games, you'll love this game. And
here it is. I'm not got it on the screen, but I'm reading it. It's Paranormasight, The 7 Mysteries of Honjo is a must-play for Danganronpa, Zero Escape, and Japanese horror fans. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I feel like that's 3 very niche names that I very much enjoy.
Yeah. And your name is Josh.
And my name is Josh.
Really like this game.
If your name is BottlerWorks, you're going to love this video game. Yeah, I've got some other stuff to play, but I'll give it the second highest honor I can outside of actually buying it, which is I will wishlist it later. Right.
Okay, so tomorrow, March 9th, we have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pack DLC Wave 4.
Ooh, what's the headline track in this one?
Yoshi's Island one, surely.
Yoshi's Island. They're adding Birdo as a character. They are they're adding a new original Yoshi's Island track. Waluigi Stadium as well. Yeah, there's a few good ones.
I think for me, it's the Yoshi's Island level.
Yeah,
because they did the trailer with that, and it looks so good, that track.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
They of course adding a bunch of the mobile port game ones and a couple of the lesser interesting ones from older games, but yeah, they're Waluigi's and the Yoshi's Island with the first character they're adding in a long while. So this is quite good. They've also said that they're adding other characters from older Mario Kart games as well in the next 2 waves. So
who's not in it?
Rob, I guess. Rob the robot.
Rob the robot. Jesus.
He was in a Mario Kart?
Bring back Rob the robot.
He was in the DS version.
Right.
Also, maybe some of the characters from Double Dash as well. Like there was a lot of the baby characters. I'm not sure if they're all in.
Oh
like
God.
Baby Daisy.
We're bringing exciting new characters to Mario Kart 8. It's all the characters, but as babies. Oh, that's kind of.
Yeah.
Why is it not Smash? We've talked about this before. Why is it not Smash Bros already?
It should be
for Mario Kart.
100%.
Yeah.
Why isn't?
As soon as they put Link in it, I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. We're Smash Brosing Mario Kart. They put Link in, and they put the Animal Crossing villager and Isabelle, and then did nothing like that ever again. Yeah. And I don't know why. It's such an easy idea. Make courses based on other games. Fucking easy. It's so insane.
Again, they made that one Hyrule track, right, for Zelda,
and they made an Animal Crossing one as well. Yeah,
an Animal Crossing one.
It's
because then they'd have to make an F-Zero track, and then they'd have to admit that F-Zero's never coming.
They have got a couple F-Zero tracks, I believe.
It's just Miyamoto.
You're right. I completely. Why aren't they just Smash Brosing it?
Just Miyamoto is like, I really don't want to touch Star Fox again, please. Just don't make me do anything with Fox McCloud. Yes. I feel like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, especially now with its DLC and what it's going to cap off of like 1,000 tracks or something.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, well, not 1,000 obviously, but
okay. I thought you had like pulled an actual number.
No.
How long is this season going?
Well, the DLC is 8 updates of 8 tracks. So already that's like 64 tracks plus 50 in the base game.
40 tracks. Yeah.
Math is hard. It's where do you go outside of just the next game is just all new stuff, and we Smash Bros it. This is so much copium, but I really hope they do that. That would be so amazing.
Yeah, because it's like it's basically just skins. Like they have the free weight classes, but it's all just skins. So
yeah. It's even easier than Smash Bros. They don't have to come up with like unique move sets or anything. It's just
it's all just skins, but people would still drop a $5 to play as Pyra from Xenoblade.
Yeah.
I'm even more annoyed they haven't done this by now. The money's right there, Nintendo. Like it's such an easy get.
It's so easy, but no, we'll get all the baby characters instead.
Okay. Also on the 8th, we have Fatal Frame: Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. I wasn't sure about this, but I know that the Fatal Frame series is known. So
yeah,
Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. Yeah, they are niche, to put it nicely.
Yeah. I don't know, but I know like this is the one where you have you only have a camera, right?
Yeah, the idea is that you can only see the scary ghosts through your camera, and you do more damage the closer they get. So how much are you prepared to get 5 nights jump scared to do damage, basically?
I don't know how they've made... As I was looking at these games, I was like, there's a few Fatal Frame games.
Fuck are these
how many
screenshots
can they make?
There's loads of them. A lot of them are Japan only, or at least they were at one point.
Is this a remake of one of those then?
I think this might be...
well, it says it's back with better graphics.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't know it because these screenshots look not great, but...
Yeah. Okay, this game was like kind of like... I'm not sure if it looked good. On the 10th, we have a game called Bleak Faith Forsaken. And this game, Bleak Faith Forsaken, this game kind of looked a bit Dark Soulsy, like kind of Bloodborne-y actually. So I was like, maybe you guys might like it.
Grey, the game. So grey.
Yeah, Dark Souls and Bloodborne-y.
Kind of looks like Midgar. Oh no, that. Hang on a minute. This is like industrial. Then it goes to Skyrim. Then this is kind of like Half-Life 2. What am I looking at?
Sure, but it was like I watched a video
Frog Fractions again.
This is Frog Fractions 3.
Yeah, it looked kind of like it could potentially be something.
It's definitely a video game, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The most video game that's ever existed.
I was just about the most video game I've seen this week, yeah.
But I've heard nothing about this other than like...
There's normally a reason for that, Steve, when you haven't heard anything about an upcoming release.
But the video looks good.
Hold on. Yeah, Le Hidden Gem. Let's not be...
Yeah, sometimes I find shit.
We did it, Reddit.
Just remember Reddit to credit the podcast.
If anyone,
I found and made this game.
If anyone is wondering why there's just lulls of silence right now, we're all trying to work out what this trailer is that we're watching on screen.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I'm like,
see what I mean though? It looks kind of good.
This is Frog Fractions 3. For sure, 100%.
Who is it? Archangel Studios. They've made nothing else.
I was going to say, I'm not clicking that because I'm not confident that it's not just adult games or something when I click it.
At the start, it said 3 developers, 1 dream. So
that like, no, I'm not going to make that joke.
Does it involve a cut?
Assuming that means video game developers. That's like 3 people trying to make, I don't know, a Souls game that incorporates all 3 of their ideas. I ain't got a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never going to tell someone not to do what they want to do, chase your dream, whatever. But when someone comes up to you and says, "I've never made a game before. I'm on my own. I'm going to make an MMO," it's like, dude, probably like scale it back a little bit for your first project.
I agree, but I love watching the video essays on people who did try those.
Oh yeah, who's the guy who does like Souls likes videos? Oh shit, what's his name?
Vati Vidya, Prepare to Grow.
Yeah, probably Vati Vid. It's probably him again. No, it's not him. But there's a guy who does like videos where he'll be like, I went through Steam and I sorted by Souls like
5 Souls.
Yeah, and I play. Yes, you know what I'm talking about, Sam. Yeah, this looks like it would crop up on one of those videos, and he wouldn't like it. But maybe I'm wrong.
On the 10th, apparently there's an open beta for a game called Deceive Inc. And I've heard people talk about this game.
I've heard two people talk about this game a lot.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It comes out on the 21st of March, but yeah, there's apparently an open beta, so it might be worth a try.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm not convinced I'm getting guerrilla marketed by people.
I was just about to say, what's the name of marketing where it's like you just gets pushed in your face?
But it does. Maybe just because I've read the name so many times, but it does look cool.
I feel like I'm going to go to the supermarket to do my weekly shop, and the little old lady on the counter scanning my stuff is like, "Have you heard of Deceive, Nick?" I was like, "Wow, you're good. You're following me now. You're getting specific."
And there's one more game coming out, and that is on the 13th. We have the 1.0 release of Barotrauma.
Oh! I didn't know that was early access.
Well, apparently, that's what's happening.
This is the one game that you all played that I completely missed.
I was going to say, because I didn't play it, and I saw it on the list. I was like, isn't that game already out? And so I Googled, like, March 13th, Barotrauma. It's like, oh, yeah, the 1.0 release is coming out.
Okay.
I'm always down for a bit of Barotrauma. The game is fun. It's utterly chaotic.
This game is just the exact opposite of everything I like in games. It's not even funny. These games... I
genuinely think you would enjoy this.
You reckon?
Yeah. I think if we got you in a group sesh of this, I think you'd love it.
It's just something about the look of it that just...
I know what you mean.
It repels me. I don't know what it is.
This game is not a game you play to complete. This is a game where you get 4 buds, go in and go... Right, we're gonna die regardless in an hour. How much fucking chaos can we cause?
You get drunk and you get fucked up in a submarine by some eldritch horror, and it's fucking hilarious.
No, you know what it is. I know what it is. That turns me off these games. It's the massive amount of UI and really tiny boxes.
Yeah, that's fair.
That thing you're looking at, that is the ship builder. Which is a completely separate bit, but
it's like whenever I try to play like RimWorld or Dwarf Fortress or City Skylines or anything like that.
It's like cascading opening menus.
Yeah, box. It's just like it does something to my brain where I'm just like, this is bad for my head. This hurts. Which I think, like, thinking about it, I really got into Satisfactory, but not Factorio. And I think Satisfactory has much larger UI with less boxes. So I'm just like simple, basically.
And I'm the shooter guy, though, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you didn't latch onto that. All right, I assume there's nothing else then, Steve.
No, that was it. It's a quite week. So.
All right, we'll wrap it up here then, and we'll call it a night. Thank you for listening, everybody. It's been another good week. Good for having you here. I'm glad you've hung around with us. And we're going to do some socials and get out of here. My name is Josh, aka BottlerWorks. You can find me as BottlerWorks on everything. To be honest with you, I don't tweet a whole bunch these days. I don't really do Twitter.
No, that's mean. I was going to be like, you had good tweets.
They're still there. They're still good tweets. You can go find them. There's just not a lot of new tweets. Anyway.
His tweets fuck, okay? Let's not.
What about you, Will?
Hello, my name is Will. You can find me on Physical 100 Season 2 coming later this year. Just I haven't started going to the gym yet, but I'll get around to it any day now.
Yeah, you got to play the big ball they have to carry above their head. What about you, Steve?
Hi, I'm Steve, and you can find me in my house. Just please bring alcohol.
And Sam.
Hello. I've been ill and I apologise. I'll be better for next week.
Do your tweets fuck though, Sam? Please say something.
Please respond. He tweeted your girlfriend today.
Oh God!
I
was just like, please say something. Please don't leave me, please.
There's something, the way Steve said that, there was something so offensive about you tweeted your girlfriend today.
I don't know how to approach this from any angle, to be honest. So.
Josh, it meant nothing. Okay.
This is all falling apart, so I'm saying goodbye now. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Goodbye.